upgradations, and how these technological upgradations are going to affect the business, and these aspects that we normally cover. And decisions always taken from the point of view of the business enterprise and how the business enterprise is going to effectively function and all. In Indian context, basically the public enterprises, in Indian context, most of the public enterprises, that means public, what is the difference between a public enterprise and a private enterprise? Let us now public enterprise and private enterprise. Just note down public enterprise versus private enterprise.
Public enterprise
versus private enterprise. A public enterprise is one. The public enterprise is one,
yes,
which is owned and controlled by,
okay, sir.
Government.
Okay, sir.
Next. Private enterprise already we know. That means privately owned by an individual or a group of people. Private enterprise is one, which is owned and controlled by a group of people. That is what all the organizations now we are taking is that is private enterprises only. What is the difference between, basically it is to understand is that a public enterprise basically owned and controlled by the government. So whether they make a profit or whether they are not able to make a profit, that does not matter for the individuals, whoever is running. Whereas private enterprises are more worried about profit maximization, how best we are able to utilize the resources, how best you are able to utilize the resources, how optimally we can utilize the resources. These aspects are to be considered in this particular problem, right? Public enterprises, why they are failure? Because they are not having sufficient monitoring, or they are not having the sufficient supervision, and moreover, public enterprises are overstaffed. More than required number of employees are there in that, and they are largely dependent on the budget sanctions only. The government will provide a budget, and basing on the budget sanctions only, they will run, and instead of taking the profits and maintaining their own resources, they will depend on the government funds. The government will transfer certain amount of funds to the public sector industrial undertaking, PSUI, PSIU, public sector industrial undertakings. With that funds, they use it to transfer, they use it to operate, and whether they are making profit or loss, that is dependent on the management of that only, right? So, but private sector enterprises, they are basically dependent on the funds generated by their own internal resources. These are the two important aspects that we have to understand. Now I will share the screen. That points you can note down. That will be somewhat okay for you also.
Okay, sir.
One minute. Share the screen. First I have to on that particular video, then only it has to. Yeah, is it visible to you?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Right.
Business environment and overview.
Yeah, that is the first slide, sir.
Okay, sir.
Unit number 10, privatization. Actually, in the case of privatization, what is basically the privatization means and how it helps for that? Transfer of public units into the hands of the private sector. Transfer of public units. What is a public unit? Any unit, you hear the word unit represents the business unit. So, if a business unit in the hands of the government, it is transferred to the hands of the private sector people. How they are transferring, how these funds are adjusted, how the employees are treated, all these things that we will discuss it right now. That means rollback of public sector into private sector organization. Rollback of public sector into private sector. See, sir, actually, if the government owned, government operated, government managed organizations like Bharat Heavy Electricals Limited, BHCL.
Yes. BHEL.
Yeah, BHCL and Hindustan Machine Tools, HMT.
Yes, HMT, sir.
HMT. These are all running. Some of the industrial units, they are running successfully, but majority of the public sector units are not able to run successfully. The problem here is that overstaffing is there, employees' commitment also very important, and at the same time, how the decisions are taken with respect to profit element. Whenever we say that government unit, that means it is not profit-oriented unit, it has to work properly, and all this ethics will come over here. But whereas in case of private sector, no ethics, nothing else, only profit.
Yes.
So these are the various important aspects that we have to understand in this. So when we are talking about the privatization, how it can be understood? These 3 points you note down. One is liberalization, increase in the share of private sector, transfer of ownership, right?
Okay, sir.
Just 1 second. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Have you written that one?
Yes, sir.
Have you written? Need for privatization?
Taken the snap, sir, and before liberalization, increase the share of the
Yeah, that's right.
private sector.
This one you are able to think, I think.
Yeah, this one written.
Yeah, next, need for privatization now.
Okay, sir.
What is the need for
High quality
privatization?
management.
High quality management, private enterprises are subjected to scrutiny, fear of closure of inefficient units, less political interference, and so on.
Okay, sir.
Next. Let us go with that and then we will proceed. Yeah, what is high quality? In the case of the need for privatization, we have to understand about that, how the private sector organizations are functioning.
Okay, sir.
That is last one. So, we have not given this liberalization aspect, no? So, what actually in the case of liberalization, what all we have to understand is that liberalization having the fewer controls and regulations on the aspect. That means controls and regulations are very much less. That means reduction in the case of the controls and regulations. So, in the case of liberalization, just let me. So in case of privatization, liberalization is the process where the controls are de-recognized. That means government controls, government regulations are reduced, and at the same time, state intervention in the economic activities is also reduced. This process is known as liberalization. Privatization can be understood in the broad sense. One is liberalization. In the case of liberalization, what all the government controls, government regulations, and the state economic are reduced in the case of the state economic activities. That is one. Second one, increase in the share of the private sector. So always the higher amount of shares are given to the private sector people. That means, as in the case of the public sector, everything is not owned by the. Sir, any disturbance from the sunlight? Is it clear for you?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Is it clear?
Yes, sir. No problem.
Okay, then it's okay because sunlight is coming very high. So, in the case of increasing the share of the privatization, share of the private sector, it is basically concerned with the private sector people are more investing in the public sector industrial units. This point is to be understood in the aspect. Third one is that transfer of ownership. So in the case of transfer of ownership, the ownership of the government is totally transferred to the private sector people. These 3 points you have to understand in this one. Next, this is to be taken. Need for privatization aspect. That is high quality management. This yesterday I have covered, and now I am repeating it for you. So the need for privatization. What is the meaning of need for privatization? High quality management. That means private ownership establishments. Private sector managements are basically managed by the various expert management people. That is efficient managers, private sector managers. They are managed, and as a result of that, management of the private sector people will become a professional management, not as just a public sector management. So various people, highly efficient managers, they are appointed to manage the public sector industry, manage the private sector organizations. Second one is that private enterprises are subjected to scrutiny and subjected to high level of scrutiny and discipline. What is private sector? All the private sector, Krishna, doing. Problem. So private enterprises are subjected to the high level of scrutiny. So various organizations like government organizations, tax authorities, they all will scrutinize the private sector organizations. Third one is the fear of closure of inefficient units. If the public sector organizations are making huge losses for the years together, nobody will bother about that one. If a government organization is making so much of loss for years together, nobody will bother, and at the same time, government will further sanction so much of money for the development and the recovery of the public sector industrial units. But whereas in case of the private sector industrial units, if any particular firm is not able to make sufficient profits or huge profits, then in such a case, definitely they will go by the closure only. That is the more important problem. With that fear, the private sector industrial units, they will work further and further in a better way. Next, less political interference. This is a known factor. In the public sector industrial undertakings, so much of political enterprise. BHCL, HMT, and Hindustan Machine Tools and Procter. There is Praga Tools, earlier Praga Tools, that is Praga Tools. All these are public sector industrial units where the political interference is very high. అంతే కదండి, ఒక పబ్లిక్ సెక్టర్ యూనిట్ ఉందంటే ఇప్పుడు మిథాని ఉంది, మిథాని పబ్లిక్ సెక్టర్ యూనిట్. దాంట్లో పొలిటికల్ ఇంటర్ఫరెన్స్ చాలా ఉంటుంది. ఒక జస్ట్ ఫ్రమ్ క్లరికల్ పోస్ట్ దగ్గర నుంచి మేనేజర్ పోస్ట్ దాకా ప్రతిదీ పొలిటికల్ ఇంటర్ఫరెన్స్ ఉంటుంది. సో బట్ ప్రైవేట్ దట్ ఈస్ ద ప్రాబ్లం. బట్ మిథాని, DMRL, DRDO, all these are public sector units. They all will have political interference at a high level. But in case of the private sector units, there is no political interference. Even no managing director will listen to the words of the central government people, are even they may listen, just like that they may listen, but they don't consider it as the ultimate important aspect. Self-interested ownership. Self-interested. Am I going fast? Are you able to follow?
Yes, sir. Following, sir.
Yes. Yeah. Self-interested ownership. So various owners of the business units, they will have interest of themselves only. This is my business. I am doing the business for my own. Like that, they will take and they will take it at a serious matter and they will make for the ownership. That's all. So next is the benefits. Have you noted this point, sir?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Written.
Yeah. Already RLs also no issue. It is already running time. 161 page number it is. Page number 161. Yes.
Okay, sir.
161 page.
Okay.
Then.
Yes.
If we open the chart, it is coming.
Okay.
Yeah. Now slide is visible to you, I think. Yes. Next. Benefits.
Okay, sir. Blank slide.
Yeah. Then privatization, need for privatization, benefits. Okay. Now,
okay,
benefits of privatization, that is higher investment. In the case of the higher investment is possible in case of the private sector people. The government resources are highly utilized for that. What are the various objectives in between? One, actually this slide is blank. So actually after the need for privatization, that what are the various objectives of the privatization is also you have to understand. Just listen. This is in the page number 162.
Okay, sir.
Page number 162.
Okay.
You note down page number 162. 5 objectives are given. That 5 objectives you have to write whenever the question appears on the privatization process.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Right.
In my book also written, sir, notebook.
Yeah. So the arguments of the government, the arguments towards the privatization is that government resources for the developmental needs and reduce the budgetary problem. So in case of if this privatization is done, the government resources can be used for the various developmental needs instead of deploying crores of rupees in the manufacturing or research orientation. Instead of that one, the private sector people will do that, and the government can use this particular type of funds for the purpose of going for the other social obligations. Then to minimize the requirement of funds from the budget, inevitable to the capital requirement of the public enterprise. So capital needs can be reduced. Capital needs can be reduced. The investment in the machinery, plant and machinery, all this can be done. That can be reduced.
Okay.
All this can be reduced from the process of investment. So next third point is that enable the accelerated growth and diversification of enterprise. So if a public sector unit wants to introduce a new line of production, it needs a lot amount of permissions and so on. But in case of private sector, it is not required. Private sector people can get easily introduced into the various elements on that. Next, to provide more efficient management of the organization, especially in the area of the marketing. Government organizations, they are not supposed to, or there are some restrictions on the organizations. They don't advertise much. That is the problem. Or now we will never see any advertisements from the government company. That is
Yes.
so. But in case of private sector, every TV ad will come over that one. That is the problem. So in case of government, if it goes for the privatization of a particular unit, then the government private sector people can invest in that, and efficient management is possible with that. And then lastly, fifth point is that to reduce militancy and indiscipline for the trade unions also. If it is a government job, every person will feel that nothing can be done to me. So they will join in trade unions, and as a result of that, so many sort of indiscipline will come, and as a result of that, various problems also will crop up through the process of this one. But if it is the case of private sector, mostly the problems of trade unionism will be very much minimum. Okay, I don't say that there are no trade unions and all the trade unions create problems. That is not correct. That is not also correct to say. But trade unions, if they work for the benefit of the workers, then it's okay. But if they work for the benefit of themselves,
Yes. Not for work, for worker only.
yes, that is correct. They work for themselves. They will
Yes.
work for their role in the management and so on. Then
Yes, sir.
definitely it is a loss to the worker. But in case of private sector organizations, will they work like that? If they work as a trade union leader, tomorrow morning, the
Yes.
call letter will come. That's it.
Yes, sir.
This is the objectives of privatization. Next, benefits of privatization. Already these points are known to you. Higher investment is there, higher productivity. So higher output will be there in that. So higher investment, any amount nowadays, crores of rupees are invested by the various people, and they can put crores and crores of rupees in the investment. And
Yes.
the government, that burden, okay, government also can put crores of rupees, but that burden will not be there on the government.
Yes.
Secondly, higher productivity. If it is a government sector, definitely at 5 o'clock, everybody will close and come out. But in case of
Yes.
private sector, nobody can ask anything else.
Yes.
So production. They're more oriented towards the production aspect. But in the government sector, they are more oriented towards their benefits, their salaries, their increments, and so on.
Yes. Yes.
Next, higher output prices. Here, just one thing, sir. You are listening carefully. I am very happy with you. Actually, higher output price means private sector enterprises charges their process on the basis of market condition, and hence it may result in the higher output price. See, higher output price means prices of the output is higher. You understand in a reverse way. Prices, higher output price means prices of the output is higher.
Yes.
In case of government units, they will provide a subsidized products.
Yes.
Subsidized product. But in case of private sector units, they will try to charge more and more. Hence, the outputs are reasonably priced according to their cost of production. So that is a benefit only. See, sir, actually, I came to know when the IDPL is running, IDPL is not now running, na? IDPL is closed. When IDPL is running,
Yes.
when I am studying my ICAA, then I came to know that when IDPL is running, ampicillin capsule is manufactured at 5 rupees and it is sold at 3 rupees. Manufactured at 5 rupees and it is sold at 3 rupees. The remaining
3 rupees.
yeah, 3 rupees. I tell you that's only a case study. Whether it is right or wrong, I cannot justify. But they are selling at a lower price in order to facilitate the public. Okay. Is it only ampicillin manufactured by IDPL? Answer is no. So many private sector pharmaceutical companies are manufacturing. They are making huge amounts of profits, whereas IDPL is losing. Alvin watches. Alvin, very much known. In those days, I went for interview also to that. So Alvin watches, they are manufactured at high cost and they are sold at a low price. That is why reason is that it will go huge amount of the output price is very much reduced, and finally it is resulting in the losses. When losses are continuous, government sector organizations depend on government funds. Finally, they will go for closure. This is the process of next methods of privatization. These points you copy and Methods of privatization.
Okay.
Sorry for the interruption, sir.
No.
Actually, today, before the starting of the class itself, there is a network issue. I tried to go into the two laptops and finally I am able to get on my laptop itself. So
Okay,
due to
okay,
that,
sir.
there is a lot of adjustments problems are there. I changed my place, I changed and all this. Okay. So it's now finally okay. Are you able to copy this one?
Yes, sir. Finished.
Yeah. But moreover things are nobody is joining in the class. Nobody is joining. Just when I started the class, there are 5 members, but now others too also left.
Okay, sir. Only me only.
Yeah, one student, one faculty.
I have given
Okay.
message to them, sir.
Ah,
Link also, but not connected.
okay. What to do? But anyhow, it's a YouTube lecture now. They can listen.
Yeah, yeah.
That is also right. Can't help it. But they are not understanding the importance of interacting with the faculty, sir. They can read. I am telling to all the students, those who are following the YouTube lecture also, and along with that, the B.R. Ambedkar Hyderabad Open University also, and something should be done towards attending online classes at least. Offline means okay, they are telling. Some are the other reasons they are telling. Okay, but even online, just if they can't spare 1.5 hours a day, or even a one Sunday, that to 8 Sundays for a semester.
Yes.
What is the output, sir? That is very much,
Yes, sir.
very much wrong.
Understood.
Very much wrong.
Yes.
There in our days also, 22 classes, 24 classes are used to be there. We used to attend all the 24 classes. Even no
Oh,
single class we used to escape.
yes.
Okay, but the reason is that whether they are able to study or not, that is a different matter. But
Yes.
unless the classroom interaction is there, how they can
Ignore.
say? Yeah, I can't say. Quality. That is a very, very problematic issue.
Yes.
And moreover, the university is taking all efforts towards this one. They are preparing the timetable, they are circulating, they are giving a large amount of publicity also. In the newspaper also they are publicizing. And on the website. ఒకటే పాయింట్ అండి ఒకటే పాయింట్ సార్ ఇప్పుడు
Yes, sir.
ఆఫ్లైన్
Learn.
క్లాస్ అంటేనేమో ఆఫ్లైన్ ఇఫ్ ఐ సే ఆఫ్లైన్ క్లాస్ no sir we have to come this way we have to come that way corona and all that where is corona for everything there is no corona but for only classes there is a corona
Yes, yes.
and okay finally it came to online but even online also they can't if they can't spare at least one day in a week okay Sunday not all Sundays we are not asking to join.
I will
They
put
can't.
the message from you, sir, to everyone, my
Hey,
friends.
what is there, sir? Actually, it's almost closer of the classes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Only remaining one class.
Remaining one class.
Yes, online class.
Yes, online. But then again, offline. Offline means there will still so many excuses.
Yes.
At least if 10 students are there, the faculty members also will have so much of interest.
Yeah,
And if
different question to different answers has to give, and they can understand the concept also.
much more things are if the students are there in the class, definitely faculty also will feel happy
Yeah.
and they will also get motivated. Yesterday, I felt very unhappy because I failed to present a PPT for you. Today,
Okay.
entire I have done it.
Yes, yes.
Without, it is not ready-made, no? It is not from any internet. I
Yeah,
studied
yeah, I have to design.
one point, sir. Actually, my philosophy is that first I will read the entire lesson. First,
Uh-huh.
you are seeing that I have changed so many side headings now. If I don't read the book, how I can change the essence of that particular side heading?
Yes, sir. Yes.
I am reading. I will definitely read the lesson first before you, and then first I will what to deliver to you. Then I will make a slide. Then I will
Yes.
tell you.
Yes. Yes.
ఏమో సార్, ఇంత ఎఫర్ట్స్ పెడుతున్నాం కానీ స్టూడెంట్స్ యూటిలైజేషన్ మాత్రం చాలా తక్కువ ఉంటుంది. దే ఆర్ డిపెండింగ్ ఆన్ ఓన్లీ వేరియస్ ఆస్పెక్ట్స్.
Correct, sir. You are correct.
ఓకే సార్, ఏం చేస్తాం మనం అంతే. We have to adjust and continue. This is the methods of privatization. This is the most important. This is in the page number. You see how I am marking.
Page number, sir.
Page number 164.
Yes, sir.
Methods of privatization.
Yes, sir. I have written in my book, sir.
Methods of privatization. First one, liquidation. Liquidation is a simple form of reducing the burden of non-viable public sector industrial undertaking. It does not involve any transfer of ownership. It does not involve any transfer of management, and it does not involve putting of the public sector organization into the hands of the private people. If a public sector industrial unit is not viable, that means not viable, not financially viable, not technically viable, not marketing viable. If a products manufactured by a public sector industrial unit are not having the demand at all, then close down that particular organization, right?
Okay, sir.
That particular organization. So it is the most simple way of liquidation. In this particular case, no transfer is made and everything is completely closed down in this. Very recently, I'm not able to get back. Very recently, one company is closed. In the newspaper, I have read 11 years back, a decision is taken, and day before yesterday, in the Enadu paper, it is given. All the employees and their families are coming to the factory and they're looking a last look and they're going.
IDPL and Praga Tools and
Praga Tools is closed very long back.
yes, very long time.
And along with that, one more organization that is also one factory is closed. Okay. So the burden of non-viability, financially not viable, technically not viable, marketingly not viable. That means financial means continuous losses. Technically not viable means technology cannot be adopted by the organization. Then financial, last one is that when the organization is not able to update to the requirements of the market, then also it is directly liquidate. Liquidation means closure, complete closure. That's all. Second is that a transfer of ownership or divestiture. This is also that point also I have written from after reading the entire lesson also. Transfer of ownership, or it is also known as divestiture. So in this case, in the case of this one, decentralization or denationalization of the private parties is done. Denationalization. That means total ownership is changed from one person to the another. Ownership is given to the private sector people. So that is called investment divestiture. Disinvestment actually it is called. Ownership is given to the private sector people, and finally private sector people will own that one, and they will try to adopt that particular policies and they will produce and sell. Then in this case, actually 3 subcomponents are there that I have not typed actually. Say in the page number 165, top 3. Page number 165, top 3. Sale of existing public enterprise as a single unit. That means I am selling the entire public sector industrial undertaking as a single unit.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. No need to. Okay. Chart is better. Advance chestunna. Sir, chart pette ఇది కనపట్లేదా మీకు?
No, sir. Taken, written.
Okay, right.
Okay, sir. Okay.
So sale of the existing public enterprise as a single unit. Entire unit is sold at once. Sale of existing public sector enterprise into component parts. That means we will divide the unit into 2-3 component parts and we will sell. Sale of shares to the public. This is happening in case of LIC also. That is why LIC people are making a lot of problem. So LIC is going to be privatized shortly. LIC, Life Insurance Corporation of India.
Yes.
So they are allowing shares to sell in the public sector. So if
Yes.
more number of shares are sold by the government to the general public, automatically it will become a private sector unit.
Yes.
Then leasing or employee buyout. So in this case, lease the enterprise on certain terms and conditions. So organization is leased to the various other parties. The government can change some lease fee, charge some lease fees and fees based on the risk of running the enterprise. If the enterprise is a risky enterprise, then government will charge a higher amount of leasing fees, and the government can temporarily be relieved from the burden of gaining the long-term funds also. In this case, the government need not invest huge amounts towards the running of the enterprise. So lastly, the government can temporarily relieve. So even though not permanently, if I give a lease organization on lease, at any point of time, the lessee can return back. But till that moment, there is no requirement of employment of the funds, and all the machinery, maintenance, etc. will be taken care of by the person who has taken on the lease.
Okay.
Next, transfer of management to the private sector or management contracts. So transfer of management to the private sector. So here, that management to the private sector is that we are not giving lease, we are not selling, we are not even liquidation, we are not even transferring the ownership, but
Okay.
only management part is given to some other person.
Okay.
You manage my organization. That's all. The government will empower the external party to manage our business. So external managers are appointed, and private sector people can be asked to manage this particular business. Entire burden of running the unit is shifted to the private sector. Burden of running the unit is shifted to the private sector, whereas at the end of the academic financial year, the profits will be taken care of by that organization only. The private industrialists, chairmen, managing directors, board of directors, all are same, all are appointed. But government nominees will be there in that, definitely. So government will just hand over the management aspect, decisions will be taken by some other party, but intervention will be there. అంటే ఓన్లీ మేనేజ్మెంట్ వరకు మాత్రం మనం బయట వాళ్ళకి అప్పచెప్తున్నాము. అక్కడ మన డైరెక్టర్స్, మేనేజర్స్ ఆల్ విల్ బి అపాయింటెడ్. వాళ్ళందరినీ అపాయింట్ చేస్తారు. ఆన్ ద బేసిస్ ఆఫ్ దట్ గవర్నమెంట్ ఇంటర్వెన్షన్ కూడా ఉంటుంది. అది టాప్ మేనేజ్మెంట్ అన్నమాట. బట్ దట్ టాప్ లెవెల్ మేనేజ్మెంట్ లో ఈ ఇంటర్ఫియరెన్స్ అనేది ఎక్కువగా ఉంటుంది. నెక్స్ట్, contracting out. This is known to us very clear. Contracting out is offering certain activities which were supposed to be taken by the government to the private party. This is very, very famous in nowadays also. Actually, construction of railways, construction of bridges, dams, etc. They should be done by the government itself. But the government normally give contract. That's all. This is the process of contracting. So they will appoint some or the other person, and that will be given to the contract to some other ones, and they will enjoy the benefits out of that. And services also. Okay, legally speaking, it is accepted, but you know what is going on there. Public works like watershed management, etc. Defense also nowadays it is not becoming excuse for that. Contracting, specialized services also. Why to go all the way in the universities, various education institutions? Also, this contracting is going out. Actually, the government has to fill up the post whenever it is. Contract teachers, and in the various schools also. Actually, how important is school education for a child? If you then foundation is not correct, that's all. So that is the problem also here, sir. Ethics are not taught properly. Ethics are not taught properly. Where ethics can be learned by a child? In the school only. In the school, the government is allowing contract teachers. How a contract teacher will have so much of interest over the school and all? If a permanent government teacher, my father and my mother are both are teachers. So, my father is Telugu Pandit, my mother is Hindi Pandit. Government school teachers, JP high school teachers they are. They use it to teach in such a beautiful way. Even the students still remember them. Right? So, to be frank, actually, if a teacher is totally teach with his intention in the mind, there is no need of notes. There is no need of any PPTs. There is no need of anything. Directly you can make it out. But in this particular field, academics, public sector people, so many civil engineering departments are there. Why can't they take up construction of roads? Why you are giving again a contract to the public outsider? This is happening. That is
Yes.
called as contracting aspect. In such a way also, you can avoid the public sector intervention.
Yes. Yes.
Lastly, fragmentation. This refers to the separation of the parent entity into several units, and each will be privatized separately. Proceeds of the separating the private entity into several units. Each will be privatized separately. For example, a holding company will be recognized and subsidiary companies may be liberalized or privatized. So a particular company which is a bigger unit, that out of that one part can be retained and another part can be privatized. That is a fragmentation. And there are so many other methods also. That methods will be far considered on this. And every enterprise can sell off their assets and
Yeah, okay.
selling of assets separately, discharging the liability separately. Like that, there are so many methods. So even though I have given a brief explanation in a fastest manner actually, but this is a very, very important question for your academic purpose. Explain what do you mean by privatization and what do you mean by privatization? Explain the various methods of privatization.
Okay, sir.
This one, what do you mean by privatization?
Okay.
Transfer of public units into the private hands. Okay, this is what is the need for privatization? What is the need for privatization? What are the benefits? Okay, methods of privatization. These three, and after the methods of privatization,
Okay.
just you note down 1-2 points. I will tell you. With that, this lesson will get closed. Right?
Okay.
Privatization in India. Privatization in India. Okay. Actually, this particular point is discussing about the how privatization is done in India. How privatization is accepted in India. These points are to be taken. And what are the who are the persons? I will tell you this one also that will help you to understand in detail, because this is the most important question towards the academic aspect also. Privatization in India, that is 167 page number.
Okay, sir.
In the privatization aspect, actually LPG, liberalization, privatization, globalization.
Okay,
These
sir.
three words, LPG, liberalization, privatization, globalization. These three aspects came into existence with the new industrial policy in 1991. That is P.V. Narasimha government. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, because till that, government sector, everybody wants to have government sector only. Then P.V. Narasimha identified that if still the government is doing everything, it is becoming a problem on the government, and finally it is resulting in the losses as well as resulting in the failure.
Yes.
So during this process, what the new industrial policy was brought out is that government has to give freedom to the public to start their own enterprise. See, if only one industry, if only one industrial firm is manufacturing, he may charge higher prices.
Yeah.
For how much time? For a few months at least. If X company is manufacturing a special drug, say for example, corona medicine, already we have seen.
Yes.
So if only one company is manufacturing, it may charge a high price. What happened to the vaccine, we know very well. Then immediately second company will start the same manufacturing and it will become a competitor. So automatically when there is a competition, the first company has to bring down their prices, otherwise nobody will buy.
Yeah.
Second, third, fourth, prices will come to a very lower level. Why to so all the way? Actually, when the Nokia alone is manufacturing cell phones in India, they used to charge a very high price, Nokia mobile, right?
Yeah.
So in those days, mobile means Nokia mobile only. So
Yes.
then Samsung started. Then when Samsung came with a huge mass manufacturing of mobile phones, what happened to the situation now? They are very cheapest rate they are available. Now everywhere, every gully cell phones are available at a very cheapest price.
Samsung only.
Yeah. So here, that the Prime Minister identified that one. If you restrict the private sector, The public sector only will lose. Public
Yes.
only will lose. If you
Yes.
allow the private sector to come up, one day they will enjoy profit. 1 month they will enjoy profit. At the end of 1 year, people will get competitive products, quality products at a reasonable price. At a reasonable price.
Price.
This is very fact of very fact also. So
Yes.
with that intention, earlier, what are the various industries reserved for the government manufacture? There are 17 industries. They are reduced to 6 only. He
Oh,
reduced only 6 industries are there. The remaining all are privatized. That is in fact. Even some of the defense goods are also
the question
allowed to
will
be.
not come, sir.
Sir?
The question will not come. Uh, if the government is privatized everything,
Yeah.
what's in the hands of government?
Government will not have privatizing all the units. Specific sectors it is retaining. Defense sector it is there. So
Okay, take the
railways.
defense. Defense should not take also, sir,
Yeah.
because it is most of the things are private only,
Yeah.
and secret.
Yes.
Should not be do the any privatize in that industry only.
Yes. Railways.
Railway, okay, sir, railway and the aviation.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So what is the answer? What is the in hands of the governments? How they can manage? What the overcome of the drawbacks? How they can come?
Yeah. Government will definitely manage the private sector industrial units also.
Okay.
Right?
Other countries peoples they cannot ask with this. You
Yes.
don't have the sophisticated people. You
Yeah.
don't have the very qualified people to manage like this. They
Yeah.
will blame to us and our nation and our government also.
Yes. That is
Yes.
very true. That is very true.
Yes. How we can overcome of this problem?
So how you can overcome is if we still keep our big giants in our hands only, definitely a lot of funds are becoming wasted. And see, that is the reason why aviation industry, that is aircraft maintenance, that is also privatized.
Yes,
That is
sir.
also privatized.
Yes.
So government will take measures only to control various aspects, but not total problem. And total, if ownership is owned by the government itself, then it becomes a problem. So
So
in the
some other peoples also ask the
yeah,
question with me, and not our other countries peoples. How you can overcome of this? Your expenses are more, and
yes, yes,
this all
yes.
what we can see this mehungai.
Yeah, right.
So you are increasing budgets like this, but it's a burden of public.
Public
But
one.
publics cannot uh,
Yes.
manage and
Yeah.
survive.
Yes.
So how they can means they are going in negative only.
Yes. Like, again.
How so?
Mm,
I also told like this. It's not in our hands, but it's in my government. So,
yeah.
so you people cannot suggest them.
Ah,
They are saying like this.
yes.
We are the small peoples. The government is very high,
Very
high
high.
level.
Yes. Mm,
So, like you people can also
yes.
inform to them because the university is the raw material of this to give the data to the government to
Yes.
manage from all kinds of aspects
Yes. Yes.
can be suggest can be
Yes.
managed like
Yes.
this.
Yes.
So I don't have also the answer for them, sir.
Yeah. That is a problem. That is also. There are for every aspect there is a pros and cons. If one way good, other way definitely it will be wrong. Right?
Yeah.
One way good means definitely it will be wrong. So what is happening to the now agriculture? Agriculture sector is kept in the hands of the private sector people. So what is happening to the various farmers now? That is the problem.
Yeah.
పంజాబ్ లో మనం చూస్తున్నాం ఢిల్లీలో రైతులు చూస్తున్నాం
Yes.
how much problem they are facing. That
Delhi
is
is
the
the city, sir. Punjab and Haryana and this our country,
yeah
our
Telangana.
Telangana, Andhra
Yes.
is
Hmm.
the key factor of production of Raitu
Yes, sir.
Bandhu.
That is correct. Okay. These three are the very very important aspects in this. Let us briefly introduce this small scale industrial units now, and then we will proceed further.
Okay, sir. Okay. No
Yeah,
problem.
unit number 11 right now.
Okay, sir.
Small scale, it is given as heading a small business. It is page number 172.
Okay,
But
sir.
actually, the heading should be small scale industrial units, SSIU. Small scale industrial units. That is.
Small scale industrial unit, SSIU. Definition term.
In the page number 173, it
Okay,
is
sir.
given a small business or industrial unit can be defined in terms of number of workers, in terms of number of workers,
Okay.
in terms of employees, or the amount of investment in the plant and machinery, or both in the terms of sales and industrial sales also. So, how to decide a particular business unit as a small scale industrial unit? How a business unit can be said as a small scale business unit? This is a long story actually from 1947, 1955, and so on. Actually, the definitions are given in terms of number of employees. If in those days a small definition is given in the 1960s, 1950s, if 100 employees with the aid of the power, 50 employees with the aid of the power, 100 employees without the aid of the power, if they are working, then it is said to be a small scale industrial unit like that. So now, which form is running without the aid of the power? Power means electricity. 100
Yes.
employees without the aid of the power, 50 employees with the aid of the power, then it is considered a small scale industrial unit in the very olden days. That is
Yes.
actually
Yes.
number of employees. Then
Okay.
investment in terms of it is repeated. Investment in terms of investment in plant and machinery.
Okay.
Investment in plant and machinery, right? Investment in plant and machinery. How much of money is invested in the plant and machinery? That is also considered. Earlier it is 1 crore rupees, then it is 1.5 crore. Finally, it is made as 3 crores rupees as an investment ceiling. If any investment is more than 3 crores, then that particular firm is said to be a small scale industrial unit. If the investment is more than 3 crores, then it is not a small scale industrial unit. Small
Nowadays
scale,
also, sir.
yeah, that is also done. So next important aspect to understand here is that both in terms of the sale or both are in terms of the sales also. So sometimes investment and also sales will be considered in this particular situation. So after this particular aspect, just only not in the slide. So actually small scale industrial units are defined in terms of investment in the plant and machinery also. Actually, the small scale industrial units are divided into 3 subparts. That point you write down, sir. Small scale industrial units are divided into 3 subparts. One, SSIU itself.
SSIU.
SSIU, and it is adokate SSI.
Okay.
Second one, ancillary industries. ANCILLARY. Ancillary industrial units. Ancillary industrial units.
Industrial
Units.
unit. Okay, sir.
Third
one.
Tiny enterprises. Tiny enterprises.
Tiny. Okay.
So when we are talking about the small scale industrial units, already we are discussing now. Ancillary unit. What is ancillary unit? Ancillary unit is one where 50% of the output is sold for a particular 50% of the production is sold to one industrial undertaking. If the output of any unit, out of that 50% is sold to another industrial unit, then it is called as ancillary unit, right? So suppose 50% of the product or 50% of the services are given to some other industrial unit only, then it is called ancillary unit. And tiny sector industrial unit, it is not there now, it is abolished actually. But earlier limit is 1 lakh, 1 crore. If the investment ceiling is 1 crore, then it is called as tiny sector. And last one is that women entrepreneurship is also given. If in any of the small scale industrial units or ancillary units or tiny sector industrial units, 50% of the financial holding is made by women. If 51% of the financial holding is made by women, then it is known as women enterprise. Actually. But later on, it is also claimed that 50% of the employment also should be given to the women. Like that, so many conditions are there. So broadly speaking, small scale industrial units are 4. 4 kaadu 3A. 3 lo mala subcategory women enterprise. First is small scale industrial units having less than investment of 3 crores. Second is ancillary industries, in that 50% of the output is sold to any one industry. Then tiny sector industrial units. And last, if any of these 3 is having 51% of the capital by the women, then it is called as women enterprise. These are the points you have to understand. So coming to the policy measures in terms of the SSI. So what is the actually the meaning is that the side heading is also not properly given. Policies related to small scale sector means what are policy measures taken by the government? Policy measures taken by the government in terms of small scale industrial units. Policy measures taken by the, here you have to write, policy measures taken by the government in terms of small scale industrial units. Establishment of 6 boards. Actually, government started with the establishment of the 6 boards are given. Boards, right? 6 boards are given in this.
Yes.
So what are the 6 boards now? Actually, there is a lot. All India Khadi Village Industries Board, All India Handloom Board, All India Handicrafts Board, Sericulture Board, Coir Board, and Small Industries Board (SSIB). These are established by the government. So, but these are not operative now. All India Khadi and Village Industries Board. This is later on governed by the Village and Small Industries Commission, Khadi Village Industries Commission. That I will tell you. Then Khadi and Village Industries Board is there. All India Handloom Handicraft Board, All India Handicraft Board, Sericulture, Pattu Parisama. So silk industry, sericulture, Coir Board, Small Scale Industries Board. Like 6 boards are established by the government. Then VSI, the government established the Village and Small Industries Committee. Actually, Small Industries Committee was established by the Carve, DG Carve, chairmanship of DG Carve. This is in the page number 175. 175, paragraph number 2.
Okay, sir.
The objectives of the scheme were bulk of the increased production of the consumer goods should be provided by VSI. So more of the production should be given to the people only. Employment must be provided by these industries should progressively increase. In order to avoid the unemployment problem, all these village industries must provide so much of amount of employment here. Production and marketing of these industries should be organized by the cooperative lines. So production should be on the cooperative basis. These 3 conditions are made out, and VSI, that is Village and Small Industries Committee, has given the report on that. And then NSIC, National Small Industries Corporation 1955. National Small Industries Corporation 1955 it is established. This Small Industries Corporation was established with the objective of supply of machinery and equipment on the hire purchase basis. So small industries, they may not be able to purchase the amount of goods, machinery, etc. So in this particular process, Small Industries Commission, they try to provide the machineries here to the various small scale industrial units. Responsibility of rendering marketing assistance to the government orders, etc. Government orders are provided to the small scale industries only. This particular corporation, National Small Industries Corporation, must see that various government orders must come through this particular small scale industries only. This is the another important point, right? Industrial estate program. This industrial estate program is the most important, most successful program also actually. Actually, what is industrial estate? We are having Balanagar Industrial Estate, Sanatnagar Industrial Estate, Jodimetla Industrial Estate. So, actually, industrial estate is one where a separate location is given for the purpose of manufacturing specific type of goods.
Industrial material.
Yeah, same type of goods are manufactured. So, and small scale industries are allowed to locate there, establish, produce and sell. Produce and sell. So that is the most successful aspect of it. And whenever a small scale industrial unit is whenever a particular small scale industrial unit establish their business firm in the industrial unit, various facilities also are provided by the government, like tax holiday will be there, electricity, roads, and various finances like banking facilities, etc. They are provided. And technology development cell, TDC, that point also you note down below that. After the industrial estate program, you write down technology development cell. Technology development cell. Yeah, technology development cell also is provided. So in the case of technology development cell, various technical services are provided by the government. So normally, small scale industrial units, why they are failing, what is the problem, why they are not successful, all this will come in the next lines. But basically, small scale industrial units require so much of technical assistance. They don't know how to manage the business successfully in the modernized technological environment. So for that, technology development cell will give a lot of importance on this. These are the various aspects that are relating to small scale industrial units, policy measures, etc., etc. Okay, small scale industrial units actually definition, number of employees, investment in plant and machinery, so terms of sales, etc. Policy measures are taken on this, and these are one. And next slide is government initiatives. That is a long, lengthy process.
Topic.
Yeah, long, lengthy topic actually that we will
Okay.
see. Okay, so in this particular class, actually, most important is the privatization lesson number 10.
Okay,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, let us do one thing, sir. Let us do one thing. I will tell some of the lessons to you because you are very patiently listening and constantly attending. Sir, you depend on the block 1. Yeah. First unit number 2 you prepare.
1 minute, sir.
Yeah. Economic environment.
1 second, sir.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, sir. Tell me, please.
So, first lesson, business environment and overview is just a covering of various aspects on this.
Okay, sir.
That is okay. You give a broad outlook of that. But in the second lesson, it is very clearly given as that environment, economic environment, what are the
Yes.
factors affecting economic environment? All this is very, very essential aspects on this. And fourth one, technology environment is an important topic to understand and learn. Fifth topic.
Sir, factors have to important and the economic and
yes.
and what has to more, sir?
Yeah. Technology
Only
environment.
factors, na, sir, only?
Mostly, but I am not supposed to say like
Oh,
that.
okay.
Because it
Okay,
is a YouTube class. No? When you come to the offline class, definitely I will help you.
Oh, understood.
Okay. So technology environment is another important topic. So what are the problems of technology? How the technological factors are going to influence the business, and that aspects you have to go in a keen way.
Okay,
Unit
sir.
number 5 is socio-cultural environment. That is the most important lesson out of the block 1.
Okay, sir. 5.
Next,
Technology and socio.
Yeah, 4th and 5th. Block 2, economic planning in India.
Okay, sir.
That is first lesson.
Okay.
10th lesson, 11th lesson, privatization and small business.
Okay, sir.
With that, we have completed. Okay, a small part is there that I will complete in the last class of online.
Okay.
So
No
with
problem,
that,
sir. Carry on.
no problem. The small business that another half an hour it will take, and after that also I will go by industrial policies in the next class. Then we'll as per the.
So this is also not, sir. 12th also. 12th also important.
11th and 12th.
Okay.
Which one, sir? You are asking 12th, huh?
Yes.
12th industrial policies that will go in block number 3, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that is actually 13th is very important. Industrial policy 1991.
Okay, sir.
And 16th, financial sector reforms.
Okay, sir.
14th, monetary policy.
Okay, sir.
And block 4,
Yes.
foreign capital collaboration, 1920.
Okay, sir.
20, multinational corporation.
Okay, sir.
So in the next class, I will complete small scale business unit, and with that, we will proceed to the offline classes. In between, you have any doubts, always welcome.
Okay, okay, sir. Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much.